In today's discourse, I want to underscore the potential of technology-driven solution to bolster transparency, accountability, and good governance, because technology can do wonders.
Once you are able to digitize government processes, it's very easy for anybody, at just a click of a button, can be able to see what the government is doing.
Welcome to Transparency Files, ICPC's weekly television program. I am your host, Murna Barnabas Atiai. In recent years, the fight against corruption has expanded to incorporate technologies that provide more real-time online prevention and monitoring. Thus, professional anti-corruption fighters should be aware of the available technologies, their opportunities, and accompanying challenges in the fight against corruption. Today on the program, we will be looking at the application of technology to effectively combat corruption, while stories from our state offices will not be left out. First, though, Ruth Awodi is standing by with anti-corruption stories. It's over to you, Ruth.
Welcome to this segment on anti-corruption stories. I am Ruth Awodi. The forgery case instituted by ICPC against Mr. Saturday Igwe, the coordinator of an illegal Akwa Ibom State Polytechnic, Ikoto Surua, Yanya Abuja Satellite Campus, has resumed in earnest after several false starts as the defendant was rearraigned on an 8-count charge of forgery before Justice Fatima Aliyu of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Apo, Abuja. ICPC is prosecuting the defendant for the alleged forgery and issuing of several admission letters and statements of results under the guise that the said documents originated from Akwa Ibom State Polytechnic, Ikoto Surua. He was further alleged to have made false statements to officers of ICPC, as well as conspiring to defraud prospective students of money, knowing fully well that the satellite campus had been banned by the Federal Ministry of Education. Upon Mr. Igwe's not guilty plea after the charges were read, counsel to the defendant, Barrister Glory Onen, applied that the court grant Mr. Igwe bail under the most lenient conditions. Counsel to ICPC, Barrister Adeshola, did not oppose the bail application. Justice Fatima Aliyu therein granted bail to the defendant subject to the pre-existing conditions stipulated to his prior arraignment. She added that the court was willing to expedite proceedings given the lengthy time that has already elapsed on the same matter. The matter was then adjourned for hearing. In another development, the chairman of ICPC, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu SAN, has called on the Attorneys General of Nigeria's Northwest Zone to join forces with ICPC to enhance systems of accountability and transparency that benefit the public. Dr. Aliyu made this appeal in Kano State, Nigeria, during a conference with State Attorneys General in the Northwest Zone focused on strengthening ICPC's capacity for preventing corruption.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as you may recall, that the Apex Court, which is the Supreme Court, in the case of AG Ondobas, AG of the Federation, has reiterated the need for all the tiers of government to come together in the fight against corruption. As I used to say that no single arm of government or tier of government or agency can fight corruption. Because corruption, we need to come together locally, regionally, and internationally for us to fight this monster. In this regard, I call on the Attorneys General of the Northwest to collaborate closely with the ICPC to fortify systems of accountability, transparency that serve our people.
Justice DJ Aboki, Chief Judge of Kano State, stated that the fight against corruption is not only a legal obligation, but also a moral one, as corruption undermines governance, weakens institutions, and erodes public trust.
We are well aware that no single entity can combat corruption in isolation. This is why the initiative to establish a community of practice among attorneys general is commendable, as it will foster collaboration, shared learning, and the harmonization of strategies across the states. The approach to focus on the Northwest Zone in this engagement recognizes the shared values of peace and the unique opportunity to strengthen collaboration among critical stakeholders in the fight against corruption, as attorney generals play a pivotal role in legal governance. This initiative will undoubtedly enhance the capacity of states in our region to address corruption more efficiently and effectively.
Dr. Uche Emmanuel, the representative of the Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption, ROLAC, stated that following discussions with the chairman of the commission, it was decided to focus on the Northwest region as a starting point.
And I want to say very clearly, it's not just because it has been said here, the Northwest Zone currently blazes the trail in the fight against corruption and in the institutionalization of systems for transparency and accountability in the region. Here, please clap. It's not clapping. The Kano State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission is the very first in the country. The primary reason why we had to come to the zones is part of what my Lord, Justice Deji, mentioned here. You can't do it alone because no man is an island.
The conference with the theme Establishing a Community of Practice for Attorneys General was attended by Attorneys General from Zamfara, Kebbi, Sokoto, Jigawa, Kano, Kaduna, Katsina states, as well as chairmen of state anti-corruption commissions of Kano, Jigawa, Katsina, and Kaduna states. That will be all on this segment. Transparency Files continues with Murna. Stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
What do you want to buy?
Potato. Small baskets. I want plantain. But why your plantain can't hard like this?
Madam, now the outside hard. Inside there, it is very soft.
Madam, wallahi make her no buy them. Make her show you something. What? What's in this one? Madam, this one now the chemical where they put on for the plantain make her ripe up.
So you dey put chemical for plantain where people go chop?
No water, no be chemical.
Water. You know, say Pela, I don't talk and say water and not be enemy. Drink them.
Where you collect that water, drink them.
I just stop finish. See my belly. I found it don't big. I just stop drink water finish.
We can drink them now. At the sell and plantain, I go come put on for chemical because I want to make a ripe go. That's why I talk now corruption. Corruption. Not be for this kaswa, come not be for this country. Now me take.
Stop corruption now. Corruption not in my country.
The chairman of ICPC, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu, SAN, has listed technological solutions as one of the core pillars of his administration. This is in keeping with his determination to prevent corruption by identifying it early and nipping it in the bud. Take a listen.
In today's discourse, I want to underscore the potential of technology-driven solution to bolster transparency, accountability, and good governance, because technology can do wonders. Because it is not human being, it can be able to detect and help us to tackle the challenge if you can use it properly and effectively. Now, this technology, like I say, can be able to help us in doing many things. We know today that with your mobile phone, you can be able to transfer money. And also, we know that in public service, there are digital platforms that are being used for service delivery, but those platforms sometimes are misused in perpetuating corruption. Now, as a commission, we are using technology and also the case management, which has revolutionized our ability to track investigation from reports to prosecution. And we are committed to ensure there is digital transformation in this agency, which will help us in instilling confidence in our fight against corruption.
And if you're just tuning in, welcome to Transparency Files. The solution to a problem can only be realized after the problem has been placed under a microscope to accurately deploy technologies in the war on corruption and shed light on some of the initiatives of the Commission. Transparency Files reached out to the Commission's Head of Information and Communication Technology, the ICT unit.
We all know that corruption in reality undermines rule of law and also public trust. So if you integrate technology into good governance and anti-corruption, it will yield a very, very good result. First, it will enhance transparency, because at that time, government processes will be digitized. Once you are able to digitize government processes, it's very easy for anybody, at just the click of a button, can be able to see what the government is doing. Aside that, secondly, it strengthens accountability. If you digitize all your processes, with the use of this big data analytics, you can be able to detect and get indicative fraudulent activities. Thereby, you can be able to predict whether there are going to be irregularities or not. This is all via the use of technology. It also removes human interface. By removing human interfaces, you reduce a lot of corruption. Then again, this is third. Fourth, you also, like if you have a tool, digital, whistleblower tool, you can be able, any person can anonymously give an information of fraud or corruption. These are just few. Coming back to ICPC, when this new chairman came, he came with what we call technology-driven initiatives. There are a lot under this. The first thing he did was to draft what we call digital transformation strategy. These are plans on how to digitize all our activities and operations, beginning from petitions movement, petition case management, and a lot. These are all in an effort to streamline our processes and also prevent any other fraudulent and irregularities. In the same vein, we had to use Microsoft to digitize data collection in this ethics and compliance scorecard, where we are able to score all the ministries in federal, most especially federal parastatals. And also, we developed in conjunction with Microsoft a tool for this constituency and executive project initiatives. When we go to the field, checking and tracking all the projects by government, those that are done and those that are not done. Initially, we were not using technology, but presently what is there is that we have a tool that can be able we track, we get information, and we use big data analytics to predict and see things, how in future, if there are occurrence of this, how the things will be. These are just few of what the Commission is doing.
Technology is thought to be an especially powerful tool in the hands of youths in the society. The generation who has grown up in and around the use and application of tech are exceptionally adept at reading between the lines and seeing possibilities that would have otherwise been missed by the average person. We caught up with our ICPC experts to learn about the endless potentials of fighting corruption with technology.
Well, technology is one of the major tools in combating corruption. One, it helps its e-governance, whereby you tend to minimize the use of human interaction while working with files and other government documents. So it's going to have the audit trails, whereby any action you take within the system can later on be traced back to you, unlike how it's done in the manual method, whereby fire or natural disasters happen and you will end up seeing that there are files that have been disappeared. It also helps it fighting cybercrime. The technology has gone to a level whereby the whole world are now technology driven, like with the Gen Z generation now, everybody is tech savvy. So crimes or criminals in the government sector are using technology in making sure that they try to bypass the manual process in which they are using. So with the help of technology, you are able to use digital forensics in tracing back where those actions are being taken. You can, your WhatsApp messages, your phone calls, all can be traced back to you. So those are the two major reasons I think can be used using technology to curb corruption in Nigeria.
First and foremost, technology is not a tool, it is a game changer. Actually, when you look at the mandate of the ICPC, where you have enforcement, you have prevention, you have public enlightenment and education. Now, if technology is integrated into some of the operations of the ICPC, it would help in redefining the way we combat corruption. For instance, looking at the mandates, when you talk about enforcement, you have AI for evidence analysis, for instance. Large volume of data being processed quickly to aid legal proceedings. When you look at the prevention mandates, deployment of IoT-enabled devices like drones can help in real-time monitoring of construction that will help in preventing the mismanagement of public funds and the under-delivery of this project. And when you look at the public enlightenment and education, we're talking about the era of gamified learning. When you have applications that can combine learning, anti-corruption, education, and entertainment, it will help to foster a culture of integrity among our young ones. And on the other hand, we talk about virtual reality too for public enlightenment and education. Simulation can be done in workplaces and schools to properly educate people on the consequences of corruption interactively. So currently the Commission, as you can see, is actually redefining the way corruption is identified, reported, and prevented by integrating advanced technologies into its operation to foster a more transparent and accountable Nigeria.
Fighting corruption with technology cannot be overemphasized because lately we know that everything is moving towards the digital era and everything is becoming like tech and digital really. So everything is going towards the tech world. That's basically what it is. And you cannot fight something manually that is digital. It cannot work that way. And what does technology do for you? It removes the idea of opacity. So basically, it removes the veil that is covering so many things. So when you have tech, there's transparency involved. That's the program says transparency files. So basically, using tech removes that. And in what sense? Now, let's take a dive into data analytics, for instance. You have large data coming into an organization, and technology helps you to analyze this data and removes, probably predicts different ways which corruption takes place. For instance, in procurement, imagine if you remove human intervention in your procurement process using tech. Basically, it's really reduces the risk of corruption immensely. You get to do lots of things using tech and remove human intervention. So you have minimal human intervention, which gives and reduces the idea of or the opportunity for tech. So for fraud, sorry. So basically, when you're looking into corruption, we have opportunity, rationalization, and pressure. So when you take out one of these things, it minimizes corruption. So imagine if you take out opportunity from everything, meaning that people don't have the opportunity to even commit the crime in the first place. So that way, you almost as good as eradicate corruption.
I am a Nigerian, a highly cultured race. My culture abhors corruption, and with my integrity, a new Nigeria is possible. I say no to corruption today to build a future for my children. Join me and imbibe the culture of integrity to build a Nigeria of our dreams.
And before we wrap up today's edition, here is report from our state offices.
Reports from Edo State reveals that Mr. Suleiman actually sensitized the students of Freedom Group of Schools and Ibonovia Group of Schools in Benin City on the types of corruption prevalent in schools and their consequences. Both principals of the schools visited, in their separate remarks, urged the students to imbibe the culture of integrity and admonished the commission to keep up with the good work at ensuring the right values are inculcated in the youths. From Katsina State comes a report that the resident anti-corruption commissioner, Mr. Mahdi Muhammad Lawal, urged the anti-graft and other security agencies to join hands together against job racketeering and financial fraud to intensify an effective national security towards a prosperous Nigeria at a one-day sensitization lecture organized by the anti-fraud units of the National Security and Civil Defense Corps, Katsina State Command. Coming from Enugu State, the resident anti-corruption commissioner, Mr. Kennedy Ebotemen, sensitized the management and staff of the Federal University of Allied Health Science on the role of public servants in the fight against corruption and advocating behavioral change using the National Ethics and Integrity Policy and its implementation strategies. And from Rivers State, the resident anti-corruption commissioner, Mrs. Ekere Usieri, has charged the management and staff of the Oil and Gas Free Zones Authority to embrace integrity in the discharge of their duties at a sensitization program organized by the Anti-Corruption and Transparency Monitoring Units of the authority.
With the right deployment of technologies, the risk of corruption can be mitigated by harnessing the power of technology to provide answers to existing bottlenecks. Technology not only helps to improve service delivery and efficiency, but also to check corruption. That will be all for today's edition. Don't forget to watch Transparency Files every Friday at 6:30 p.m. on NTA Network and NTA International. Let us remain vigilant and committed to cutting short the menace of corruption in our dear nation. Until then, stay informed and engaged. My name is Murna Barnabas Atiai.